Hey there everyone, welcome to Tales in Text and I'm your host Nisha Prakash and this is Bite Size Bharata where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. Devavrata's words hung in the air for many moments. The fisher chief Dasharaja recognized the quiet power behind his words. This was not a vow of convenience designed to lead astray the trusting. No, this was a promise with weight, with legacy carved into every syllable. The moment Dasharaja heard these words, he knew Devavrata had meant them. Bhishma had abdicated the throne, and he would remain childless and celibate for the rest of his life. And his daughter Satyavati, she would be secure, her children safe from the vagaries of human greed and jealousy. A tense smile graced his face and Dasharaja nodded gravely. He said, "Thank you, sire. I believe you. May Bhishma have a glorious life. May you make my daughter's life in the Kuru lineage a safe and blessed one." Bhishma nodded quietly. He turned around and walked towards Satyavati, whose tear-streaked face hung down in shame and guilt at her father's doing. Bhishma moved close to her and said, "Mother, shall we go home now? Your father has given us his leave." The words caught the maiden off guard. Then she realized that she no longer was the daughter of the fisher chief, but the wife of King Shantanu of Hastinapura. Through his selfless sacrifice, her betrothed son had successfully managed to unite her with her love. Gratitude and joy brimmed her heart, and tears coursed down her face. Looking at the young man standing in front of her, Satyavati nodded and whispered, "Yes, son. Take me home." The ride home was quiet. It gave Bhishma time to think about how he would convince his father to accept the maiden, especially when he heard of the circumstances under which he had obtained her father's consent. The steady rhythm of running hoofs eased his anxiety. He hoped his father would not prove an unbeatable challenge. He wanted his household to regain its color, vibrance, and happiness. The safety of the kingdom depended on it. As the palace loomed ahead of them, Bhishma sent his ministers ahead to request the king to grant him a private audience. He ordered that none should speak of the events that transpired, for he himself would speak to the king. Saying so, he led Satyavati towards another entrance, where he entrusted her to a maid, asking that the maiden be bathed and dressed in the fashion of a queen. She must then be brought to the Mahasabha, the royal court, when he asked for her. Slowly, he made his way to the Mahasabha to share the news with his father, King Shantanu. King Shantanu sat alone in the massive courtroom. His back erect and face tense, he scanned his son's body for signs of injury, illness, or distress. He found none. Slowly heaving a sigh of relief, the king asked in a confused and concerned tone, "Are Rajkumara, why is it that you wish to speak to me so urgently? The chief minister did not mention the reason at all, only that it was very imperative for us to speak in private. What is wrong, son?" Bhishma bowed deeply in reverence to his father, the king. Slowly, he replied, I think it is time that we discontinue using the title Rajkumara for me, father. This son of yours has made a vow to abdicate the throne of the Kurus from this day forward for as long as he shall live. What are you saying, Devavrata? Please do not joke about such serious matters. You cannot abdicate. I won't let you. Tell me everything. Surely something monumental must have happened to make you say this. Until yesterday, you were taking such interest in the safety and prosperity of the kingdom. What has changed now? And I will continue to care for the welfare of our kingdom and people, Rajan. Bhishma continued. Just not as heir apparent or the future king. Those roles shall go to your younger sons. Younger sons? What strange things you say? Spluttered King Shantanu. In response, Devavrata turned around and clapped his hands loudly. A doorkeeper ran inside and prostrated before him. Tell the chief maid to bring the new maid into the courtroom this very instant, said Bhishma. A few tense moments passed and the door swung open, revealing the same doorkeeper, accompanied this time by a beautiful woman decked in the most splendid sari and jewelry. Shantanu started in surprise. He could not believe his eyes. This was a phase he had not forgotten. It was a phase he thought of every waking and dreaming moment. But how was it, wondered the king, that Satyavati was in his palace and dressed like a queen? His shock turned to confusion as Devavrata turned around, prostrated at Satyavati's feet, and said, "Welcome home, mother." Mother? What is going on, son? What is she doing here? Is she truly here? Or is it some wondrous magic that you have learned to conjure and you brought your father's heart's desire? What's happening? Cried the king. This is no illusion, father, replied Bhishma. And taking a deep breath, he revealed to his father all that took place after his previous conversation with the king. The visit to Dasharaja, the request for Satyavati's hand in marriage, the unanticipated demands, the brutal vows, and the successful return home with the future queen. And so here you are, father, continued the devoted son. I present to you your new wife, the next queen of Hastinapura, and the mother of the future heir of the Kuru dynasty. Please accept her and let us celebrate your blessed union with pomp and gaiety. Silence echoed the chambers of the Mahasabha as a slew of emotions crossed Shantanu's face in quick succession. Joy at seeing Satyavati, gratitude at their impending union, anger at Dasharaja's meanness, and finally a devastating sorrow at the magnanimous sacrifice his son had made. A sacrifice that guaranteed him, Shantanu, all the love and happiness the world had to offer, while simultaneously denying the very same to his beloved and beautiful son, Devavrata. Oh, cruel fate! cried Shantanu, falling to his knees and sobbing uncontrollably. The crown on his head slipped off and clattered to the ground. He swooned and lost consciousness. Concerned and scared for his father's well being, Bhishma rushed to lift his father up again. Satyavati fell at the king's feet, and then, rising, she took his head in her lap and began to fan him with the end of her sari. Refreshing potions and water were ordered to revive the grief-stricken king. Slowly, the king regained consciousness. He blinked open his eyes and gazed at Satyavati's beautiful and concerned face. He turned to look at Devavrata's worried gaze. Slowly, sitting up, he took hold of his son's warm, firm hands. "Why, son? Why?" he whispered. "Why did you do it? How could you do it?" Guilt racked his entire frame. Out of the corner of his eyes, he saw Satyavati weeping voiceless tears, stifling her shame and guilt in the pallu of her sari. She averted the king's eyes. Bhishma wiped the perspiration off his father's brow and wiped the tears from his eyes. Shaking his head, he gently replied, "I did it out of love, father. I did it for love. What use is a throne or a kingdom to me when the man I care for the most in the world is lost in the depths of sorrow due to lost love? Do you think I could ever have been happy when you were not?" "But son," interrupted Shantanu, "by giving me joy, you have caused your own life to be without any. It is true that I love Satyavati, but I love you too. And I have lived a great life, Devavrata. I have lived a life filled with courtly and familial bliss, while you have tasted neither yet. How could you have deprived yourself of the opportunity to do so? And that too without consulting me. If you had but once shared your plans with me, son, I would have told you to put this task out of your mind. I would never have asked you to sacrifice your happiness for mine, Devavrata. Never. And it is for the very same reason, father," continued Bhishma, "that I refrained from asking you. For I knew you would sacrifice your happiness for me. You, father, who were forced to watch the cruel drowning of your other sons. You, who had to remain without a wife or child for many years in this cold, empty courtroom. You, who only experienced a sliver of happiness so late in life. And then you had this happiness also wrested away from you over perceived threats and sorrow. Could I deny you your one chance of having a fulfilling marriage? A real unbroken family? I may not know the joys of marriage and fatherhood, but how can one miss something that one has never experienced? Trust me, father. I have made these vows to abdicate the throne and to remain celibate always, with my complete faculties and in full knowledge of these consequences." Gently raising his father up, Bhishma then led him up to the throne with Satyavati's help. Placing the king on the seat, he gently guided his new mother, the Queen Satyavati, beside the king onto the throne. Prostrating before the royal couple, Bhishma said, "I may never sit on the throne of Hastinapura, O king. But rest assured that I will spend my whole life guarding the throne and the Kuru lineage from threats both external and internal. I will be here as a protector, a friend, and a mentor to my new brothers and the future heir to the Kuru throne. No one shall harm this kingdom or our dynasty until breath exists in this body. I will do whatever it takes to ensure our lineage thrives. I promise, and as you know, I am not a man to renege or break my vows. Shantanu's eyes reflected deep pride for his son. Rising, he and Satyavati blessed Devavrata. Then the king of the Kurus uttered a benediction. O Devavrata, O Bhishma, today you have given me and our lineage your life. Here, accept from me a boon that trumps death. May you live a long and fruitful life. May death never overcome you until you call for him yourself. May you choose the time of your own death on your own terms. O Bhishma, you never had much choice over how your life would be played out. May you have the power to decide how your death plays out. Accept this boon from me and make your old father happy. Bhishma looked at the couple in front of him. He took a breath and said, I accept. Shantanu called the entire court of ministers to order and recounted the conversation he had with his son. He announced his marriage to Satyavati and stated that his eldest son, by her, would be their heir to the throne. As for Bhishma, he gave up all the indulgences meant for the heir apparent. He spent many hours each day in the study of the sacred texts in pursuit of the perfect understanding of dharma. And when Satyavati finally had her children, he spent his life raising them and guiding them to be the most morally sound and politically astute rulers that Hastinapura had ever seen. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, like my video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Nisha Prakash and this was Bite Size Bharata, where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. I'll see you next time on Tales in Text.